Hello and welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one-stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner. Today we are talking about another Pacers loss, this time a disappointing 95-97 loss to the Raptors in Toronto. The Pacers fell to 2-16 on the season, 0-10 on the road, whereas the Raptors stretched their win streak to 9 games. They were hot coming in, and I thought this was going to be kind of a cakewalk for them, honestly. I had low expectations for the Pacers, and they really made a great game of it. They had leads in the second quarter and then again in the fourth quarter. I thought the game kind of started to turn at the end of the first half. The Pacers had a 10-point lead an 11-point lead before the Raptors made a huge flurry late in the half to actually take a 1-point lead into halftime at 50-49. And Siakam picked up his fourth foul on a really bad, just undisciplined play at the end of the first half. And I thought, there goes that game. But the Raptors did come out strong in the third quarter. The Pacers then made a run, though. They made a big run in the fourth quarter. They even took a lead late in the fourth quarter of a few points, just a couple points here and there. It kind of oscillated around. I believe the biggest it ever got was 3 in the fourth quarter there. But then late in the game, it was tied. They had a tie game. We'll just go over the final stretch there a little bit, which I think was worth breaking down. So with about 30 seconds to go, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull up I should have had the play-by-play ready to go here, waiting on things to load. They get a defensive rebound, and they had a pretty interesting lineup on the floor at the end there. It was Jay Huff, Siakam, Mathurin, Nembhard, and TJ McConnell. So rather than Jackson and Walker, who both started, they went with McConnell and Huff, who both were having great nights. McConnell was the leading scorer for the team on the night. Jay Huff had 10 points. He looked good again. But they get a rebound with 34.9 seconds left here at 95. And they get a great look to Siakam late in the shot clock. He gets the shot off with about 14 seconds left. It's about 4 on the shot clock. Beautiful move inside the paint. But Jacob Poeltl, I think is how you pronounce it. It's a little bit of a funky name, spelling-wise at least. Managed to block Siakam's layup attempt. Again, he made a great move on his defender, but the help came. Raptors get a rebound. They do not call a timeout, and then let the clock run down. Brandon Ingram isolates, goes against Pascal Siakam, and manages to make a mid-range jumper with 0.6 seconds left on the clock. Pacers call a timeout. They inbound to Benedict Mathurin. He cannot convert the 3-point shot that he gets up. Disappointing way to lose the game. But it really was a great effort. Keep saying that the last few games. Pacers keep putting up these great efforts against these really good teams. Really, Cleveland, Detroit, and Toronto, their last 3 games have been their best, are the 3 best teams in the East right now. Maybe New York's in there too, but it's really those 4. And at some point, a good effort doesn't count for anything, but man, it was a good effort. It was. Again, you got a great night from TJ McConnell, who had his season high 16. He led the team. You had kind of off nights again from Mathurin and Nembhard. So Nembhard was 2 for 10. Mathurin was 5 for 15. You have to hope that doesn't become a trend. But Walker was solid again. Siakam was 5 of 10 for 11 points. He was actually in 1 for 4 from the free throw line. He had a bit of an off night, but again, he was in foul trouble early. And so I think he just was a little less aggressive, even though he still played 31 minutes. That's about 5 down from his normal. I think that still affected his aggression on the floor. One interesting thing is that they did not go nearly as deep, so we never saw Tony Bradley. Ray J. Dennis, Talon Peter didn't play either. They really only played 9 guys. 10 guys got in. Garrison Matthews played all of 10 seconds at the end of the first half when Siakam picked up his 4th foul. And so it was interesting to see Rick kind of shortening the rotation. I think against a good team here, he is wanting to not throw two-way guys out there and lose some valuable production in those big minutes. Where the game has tended to get away from the Pacers with the second unit, or sometimes really what would truly be the third unit. But really, I do want to just, again, it's a loss, but I think it was a great effort. Toronto is a great offensive team. They get into transition. Pacers limited them to 9 fast break points. They're really good in the paint, and they absolutely obliterated the Pacers in the paint in their first matchup. This time they only had 46 points in the paint, which is a lot, but much better than last time. And so I think the Pacers showed a lot of progression, and they showed that they're ready to compete at a higher level than they have been so far this season. And that's important because coming up, they have a big 4-game homestand here. And so they start Friday night tonight. I'm recording this Friday morning with the Wizards, who that is a battle for last in the NBA. These are the 2 worst teams by record, and I would say by the eye test from the little I've seen. Washington is not a good team, obviously, as their record shows. People say that about the Pacers too. I think they're better than their record shows, given the injuries. But this is a game they need to win. Right now, their worst loss of the season is a home loss to Brooklyn. If they lose tonight, this would be their worst loss of the season. And then they follow that up with a back-to-back, home back-to-back against Chicago. First time seeing that division opponent, who had a great start to the season. I believe they started 6-0. Now they're 9-8, so they're on a bit of a rough stretch here. I believe 3-8 in their last 11 games. And so these are 2 winnable games. It's a holiday weekend. I think you'll have the fans out and cheering. Busy weekend downtown. And so if you can get, you need at least one. I think you have to win tonight to have any semblance of respectability about the season. But if they can get both of these and then maybe have good showings against Cleveland and Denver, 2 tough games, maybe steal one of those against superior opponents, then you go at Chicago, and then you're back for 2 more against Sacramento and New York. And so this is a stretch where you can start to pick up a few wins, I think, for the Pacers. And it's possible that it's already too far gone for them to make the playoffs, to make the play-in. But at least get some positive momentum, get some good feeling back in the team. I know some fans want them to tank and just get, the best draft pick you can. And maybe there's a silver lining to that. But I stand by what I said at the beginning of the season. I think winning is a habit that you want to see these guys competing. You want to see them playing well. You want to see growth from the young guys, and not just them trotting out young guys to get them experience, and then they play terribly and lose their confidence. So wins are good, no matter what happens with draft picks. I truly believe that. So let's get a win tonight, maybe another tomorrow, pick up some positive momentum, and get this thing back a little bit on track. So I will be breaking down the game versus Washington. I'll be back tomorrow, Saturday morning, with a breakdown of that. And please subscribe so that you don't miss it. Be sure to like, share with your friends, your Pacer fan friends, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.